Alright, all you moviegoers out there, welcome back to the Indy Radio Arcade. And if you're wondering at home about that whole dragon fight during the intro, since we completely forgot to touch on that, the wand broke in half when it teleported us back home in time for the Tuesday night special. Cause if it hadn't been for that, I would use that regularly to get to where I need to go. But, yeah, them's the breaks. Just like that wand, which broke. But besides all of that, folks, I think it's time for us to go into another thrilling movie 10 reel edition of the 3MR. And the movie we have up on the plate to continue this police summer shootout series is none other than the sequel to the Michael Bay film known as Bad Boys 2. And the meat and potatoes of this said film, which sees the return of not only Marcus but Mike, who teams up to try to go against the drug kingpin himself of Johnny Tapia, who seems to have a lockdown on all the drugs going in and out of Miami, only for the team of Marcus and Mike to try to prevent that from happening, all while preventing their partnership from going up in flames at the same time. And after those meat and potatoes that we tried to say without revealing too much of the said movie, folks, what did I love about this movie? Well, for starters, since Michael Bay is on the seat for this one, folks, there has been more explosions, more action, more, gore and violence to take place during this film, along with a good amount of comedy to take place during it as well. And not to mention, the soundtrack featured in this said movie, not bad. Not to mention it featured not only P. Diddy, Nelly, and a couple of other guys teaming up together for the song Shake Your Town Feller that was featured during this said movie, and even the song that was featured during so many episodes of Cops of Bad Boys that was actually featured during this movie as well. Nice. And not only that, folks, but you would see the return of several actors from the first film, along with other familiar faces that would be a part of the second film, including not only Henry Rollins, which I still can't believe he was a part of this movie, then you even had Dan Marino featured in this film as a car owner who got his car stolen, and even would see Michael Bay himself featured in this said film as well, along with none other than Jordi Mola, who was the guy who played in not only the movie Jack Ryan, Columbiana, Blow, and even during the 2013 installment of Riddick. But then you would also see none other than Michael Shannon featured in this film, who was also in the film of The Iceman, 12 Strong, and even The Shape of Water. And along with him, folks, you would also see none other than Peter Stormare, who, for those who don't know, was featured during the video game Until Dawn, but was also featured as the devil in the movie Constantine, was also featured in John Wick Chapter 2, Prison Break, The Lost World Jurassic Park, and even during a movie that we're gonna eventually review in the near future, known as The Last Stand, which was a movie that had Johnny Knoxville and Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, and trust me, folks, it was a cool film. And thank you for reminding me, Maestro, he was also in The Big Lebowski and in Armageddon, as well as the original film installment version of Fargo. Not a bad resume. And before we forget, and thank you for reminding me, Maestro, you also had Gabrielle Union, who was also featured in this film, and who was a part of not only Family Matters, Sister Sister, and even during the movie Perfect Holiday, Friends, and also during the movie known as Abandoned. And one of my favorite scenes during this movie, and my God, with how funny this movie was, there were several scenes that happened during this movie that was absolutely outrageous, and you can take your pick, whether it's the one where they were in the Radio Shack trying to figure out what was on that camera. That was a funny scene. Where the boy Reggie tried to take out Michael's daughter. That ended badly. But one of my favorite scenes in this entire movie, if it's comedy-based, has to be the scene where Captain Howard showed up after everything that went possibly wrong and would say, "Oh, I got you guys get up in the morning and try to figure out a way how to mess up my day by saying, 'Hey Marcus, hey Mike, how you doing? Let's see how we're gonna mess up the captain's day today. Oh, I know, let's scatter some bodies in the middle of the road.'" I don't know why, but that was the funniest thing in the movie besides the whole dating his daughter thing, which was absolutely outrageous. And seeing the fact that this movie is a sequel, folks, we might as well ask ourselves that classic 3MR question of to sequel or not to sequel. And in my opinion, with all of the action and comedy that they provided during the said film, absolutely yes, this deserves to have a sequel in it because once again, the back and forth comedy between Mark Lawrence and Will Smith, definitely a yes for a sequel, in my opinion, for this film, because it's great seeing that on-screen chemistry between those two. And seeing the fact that we don't know how to review movies along the lines of Siskel and Ebert or any of those other famous movie reviewers that you know of out there, we say this. If you guys want to go ahead and watch a movie that features Miami's finest hitting the streets once again to prevent drugs from circulating throughout Miami, all the while getting in twice the amount of gunfire, twice the amount of explosions, and even twice the amount of comedy that you could experience from the first film, then I recommend you go out there and watch that flick. And trust me, folks, you'll have a laugh, and you'll definitely enjoy a couple of the gunfights that happens during this movie. Trust me. And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back into that music, and when we return, we'll be back with more of the Indy Radio Arcade right after a word from our sponsor. So don't run out of continues just yet, folks, and stay tuned.